the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And
Hi, I'm Kathy Ferguson. I'm also with the TBI.
Hello.
Good evening.
sorry to catch you at a bad time. Are you feeding your cats? I saw a lot of cats out here.
Yes, and I have to take, I've got a mouthful. I have to take Greg out to the end of the lot to get the coons away from the door. Y'all must have scared them. They must have run off.
Were they all up here just a minute ago?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
Well, can
I
I
Hey,
help
kitty,
you do
kitty.
something?
No, honey, but thank you.
We'll take the bread out there for you.
You want me to help you?
I'm okay. I just have come in and I was just getting out of all the flutter. Y'all, this seat's okay for you, and this seat's okay for you.
Okay.
Thank you,
I mean,
ma'am.
they're not dirty like.
Oh, I don't care.
Well,
I'll sit in that dirty one. I don't
Yeah,
care.
we don't
Let me go
care.
get a towel, white face.
No,
No, Miss
ma'am,
Ann.
no, I'm good.
You got on white pants.
No, they're not that. They're cream colored.
I'm not worried about that.
You don't. I don't.
Look at the deer. Look at the deer
Oh,
out there.
wow.
Wow. Do you feed them too?
Well, I do when I take the coons food out.
Well, they look like they're hungry. Don't let us keep you from
Oh
that.
no, honey! If I did that now, then it'd be to do again because there's a herd of coons that come to the door, and the cats can't eat out here without me feeding them all at the same time.
You're like Snow White.
I just put a piece. I just picked up two medium thin crispy pizzas, and I'll bring them out here if y'all would like to have a bite.
No, but you.
It's hot, good and hot.
Well, let's. You
No,
get-
I've ate. I had to go feed other cats up the road, and I've stuff myself, and I just brought the boxes in and was closing it up, and there's plenty. Wouldn't y'all like to have some?
Ma'am, I would. I just ate earlier. I would love to eat some, but
Please don't let us keep you from eating your supper.
Hush.
The deer are going to get the pizza in a little bit, I bet you.
It's good. It's hot.
well, thank you. So,
gonna put some of this
so
stuff up.
is it okay if you talk to us for
Yeah.
a few minutes? Thank you. I know you just got off work, didn't you? So. Well, like I said, we're from TBI, and
And I do wish you hadn't come.
well.
Y'all are sweet. Y'all are sweet as can be and nice, but I know you're going to talk to me about Buford Pusser, and I don't want to talk about him.
Well,
ma'am,
we appreciate your honesty with that.
Yeah.
though.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, I can only imagine. I can't
I
imagine
mean,
how
something
you
that
feel.
long ago, and this is just terrible.
Well, and the last thing I want to do in this
I
whole
know
world is to
this is your
hurt-
job,
is-
just like I've got my job, and people hate tax collectors.
Well,
I understand it's your job. I didn't put that way on. I know.
No.
We didn't take offense to it, I
It
promise.
no,
We
I
didn't
thought
take
it was
offense.
funny, and I thought it was really
Well,
honest,
it
and I
was
appreciate.
honest. Trust me, it is honest. Oh Lord, I was hoping I wouldn't ever hear nothing else about him.
And that's it's been a lot of years and a lot of things, and the one thing that I want.
And the one thing that I never did was talked about him, or of all those books and mess. I've never talked to anybody. I didn't want any part of that. I don't want, and I still don't want any part of that.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to identify with him at all.
We don't blame you.
I mean,
And
I don't mean.
I know you want
probably
to keep
shouldn't
things
even
in the
said that,
past.
but absolutely, that's a closed chapter to me.
Well, we don't want to bring up those old
I know
feelings
you
and
don't.
things,
You
but
have to. And
yes,
I
ma'am.
understand. I understand it. I was just hoping I wouldn't.
Well, and the thing about it was, what were you, 18 or 19? I mean,
I don't even know. I was old enough to know better and shouldn't have never been.
yeah, but we were all, look,
we've all done that kind of stuff, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. If anybody's honest, they have. But it's not. I think, who was that? That wasn't me.
Well, you were young.
Yeah,
I mean,
too
and
young, young and stupid.
Well, and we've all been there. I mean, I'm getting old and I'm still stupid on some
Well,
stuff.
I am I guess I'm stupid.
We all are. Let's be honest,
Stupid,
ladies.
or
We
I
all
wouldn't
are.
be saying this.
But the thing about it is, I mean, he had a lot going for him, and so I mean, you know,
yeah, he had a lot going, and I was very gullible.
well, in history, like you don't get the benefit of history when you're living your life. You are just living
You
it.
don't. You're so right.
And you know, I think back to some of the boyfriends I had. One of them went to prison.
Oh,
I mean, he
no.
was a bad cop. So I mean, I've had
You've had-
I've had a few, yeah. But I say that to say that, that you know, that's why we are here to talk about it.
I knew you would.
And this isn't where we, you know, this is a TBI case, and it's open, and it's remained open all these years.
You see, and I was shocked at that. You know, two people from your, two men came back. It seemed like it was in the summer, and I was really shocked. You know, when they said, I thought. In fact, when I first saw him, I thought, oh Lord, here's some of this book mess. You know, somebody to movie mess or book mess. And, I just couldn't believe it.
Well, and you know, what I would like to do, and you tell me, but we're just here to get to the truth and the bottom of what happened. You know, they exhumed Paul, you know.
Yeah, I knew that because everybody in the county was talking about it. But I don't know how it turned out.
Well, and that's still in process, but this was the part of it, you know, that we wanted with integrity to come as we would with anything.
Sure.
And our search for the truth, you know, we have to uncover the truth wherever it may be, and part of that is unfortunately your experience of that, you know, during that time of what you experienced being close to Buford.
But see, this is the truth. You know, I never believed any of that. I never believed any of that stuff.
Any of what stuff?
The stuff that they were telling me before about how that people thought that he killed her. I never believed that. If I had have believed that, there's no way that I would have been around him.
Well, but you know, you wouldn't have necessarily known that he would be capable of taking it that far. I mean, you may not have known that, but you know, hindsight.
I never believed that. But people weren't saying it like I'm hearing it now, you know.
Is that the first time you heard it? Was when those two TBI agents came to see you?
It's not the first time I heard it. Back then, you know, people there was a certain element that would say, "Oh, he killed his wife."
Okay.
But none of us believed that. None of us that knew him believed that.
What was your experience with him? Was he? I mean, can you just start from where it makes sense to you and tell us your story, because we're here to look for the truth, and part of that truth is your story.
Absolutely nothing that can coincide with that. Nothing.
Well, it wouldn't coincide with it at all. You know, the truth is kind of it's part of your experience of you just living your life, and you happen to be part of this big thing that happened because you were, you know, he was in your life for a period of time. It doesn't mean that you would have known or had any knowledge of necessarily how it was all going to play out. But what we're here really is like what your experience of him was, what the relationship was, because there's some things that, you know, that we wouldn't be here just based on rumors, you know that. Like, I think, you know, we wouldn't just be coming to get your side of the story or what your experience of that is if it was just rumors. Does that make sense, or am I confusing you?
No.
Okay.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I understand, but I don't know what I can say.
Well, and I don't want to tell you what to say, and I don't want to ask you a bunch of questions.
I know. I don't know what.
Well,
what y'all
let's
want
think
from
about
me.
it like this.
Okay.
We have a responsibility in any case, but in particular this one with Buford, is if somebody has accused him, and we heard that he's the one that killed Pauline, and I don't know if he did or not, but we have a responsibility to run that to ground, to either say yes he did or no he didn't. Absolutely
Right.
no he didn't.
And I'm hoping no, we didn't.
Right. And we obviously weren't the ones to work it back when that happened, but we've gone back and we reviewed the notes of the first investigators, and we're going to talk to everybody that was in
I know
Buford's
you
life.
are. Of course
And
you are.
and so that's what Melanie meant. We didn't choose you randomly.
Oh, I
Miss Ann,
know that.
so I think
Listen,
if you
Dennis Hathcock and I used to be the best friends, and
Really?
Lord, yes, and you know, since we were just young, we were friends, and I know what Dennis's heart's desire is here.
what
So,
is that?
Well, to say that Buford killed this wife.
Well, I think it would be helpful for us if you could just tell us about your relationship with Buford and the things y'all used to do together, and if you had any mutual friends, because you might have a little nugget that's important to us and you don't know that it's important.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So, and we tell this to everybody that we talk to, because there's not a whole bunch of people still around that had firsthand knowledge of Buford, that just talked to him, right? Was friends with
Buford
him.
wanted to be a high roller, and he was really. I think he was really just a country boy. I know that sounds so ignorant,
No, it doesn't.
but just that's the first thing that comes to my mind. But he wanted to wear the finest suits, and he wanted to look. I think Buford really always wanted to be something that he really wasn't, but he did an awful good job at it, because he fit it. He liked to go to, and that was a good time with me. He liked to go to the finest restaurants, and he was a high roller, so to speak. And that was my connection with him. It was just a life that I couldn't have with anybody else, as far as getting to go to those places and do those things and have full-course dinners. And, there wasn't any way I could have ever done anything like that, because I didn't know anybody like that. So really, he was a party man, and I know that's contrary to the image he probably wants to paint with all those foolish books, but that's what comes to my mind when you tell me that you want to know about us.
How'd y'all meet?
I think how we met. I think about the first time that I saw him. There was the first time that I saw him was I don't know if that was I believe the first time I saw him was there was a girl from Savannah that used to come over here, and she and a friend. And we were all hot rodders, believe it. I feel like a fool saying that. But anyway, she had a fast car, and she knew Buford. And of course, I kind of was impressed with her, and she asked him. She said, "Oh, there's Buford," and I remember she said, "Oh, I want to drive his car," and so he was probably a police at Adamsville. I hadn't even thought of that, but he probably was. I don't know if he was the sheriff. Maybe he was the sheriff, because I know I was in high school, so he might have been. But anyway, she wanted to drive his car, and he knew her, and he said, yeah, and I remember getting in the back seat and thinking, God, I don't want to be in here. Why did I get in here, you know? Just
Because you're young and it
well,
sounded
I
like
didn't
fun.
want to, but say she did that, and I was kind of, I guess you might say, looking up to her, and you know, it wouldn't have been cool to have said no, but I remember I was scared to death, and you know, just because it was not in my field, and I got in the back seat, and I remember thinking, gosh, how do you even know him? You know, I thought he was so ugly. And, well, I did. And I hadn't even thought about the first time I'd seen him was that. But then, later, I had this boyfriend, and it had been a pretty long courtship. And anyway, he had built. God, this sounds so horrible. Do you think y'all are y'all gonna tell this?
We're not judging you. Listen, this is three ladies sitting chewing the
This is
fat.
something I wouldn't. It'll probably make my blood pressure get high.
Well,
But
you just take your time.
anyway, he had built this house, and I didn't want to get married, and we really didn't love each other. I don't even know what caused it. But anyway, he built this house, and he was a nice guy, and I kept not putting it off, you know. Every time we talk about setting a date, it's kind of like me right now at work. I want to retire, and then I get scared, you know, to go ahead, and I'm all messed up right now, and I don't feel good, and I got everything in the world wrong. But anyway, it's kind of the same feeling, you know. I didn't want to really. Well, this ain't got a thing to do with this.
You can't. It's okay.
But anyway, we kept putting it on, and he said, well, I'm got to do something with that house. I'm going to rent that house if we don't. Well, he rented it, and I want to think he rented it to some highway patrol. I'm not sure who he rented it to. I kind of think it was. And we went to, it was one old night, and we went to, he needed to see that guy. I don't know if it was give him a key, collect his money, or whatever, who he was renting that house to. And so we went to the back of the courthouse, and Buford is who he hollered at, and he was going in the back of the courthouse, and Buford was who he hollered at, and he come to the car. I don't know what caused it, but he was staring at me, and I was staring at him. I guess I was thinking that he was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. and I guess he was looking at me thinking, oh, well, who are you, you know, because I know nobody didn't remember me from when that, you know, girl drove his car that time. And then after that, anyway, we just, you know, stared at each other, and then my boyfriend got mad, and he said, I'll never forget what he said. He said, just cussed at him and said, the very idea of a man looking at you woman that way. And so, I mean, I don't know why I'm telling y'all this.
It's okay.
Because
anyway,
it makes sense.
It paints a picture.
You
Yeah.
know, and I thought, you know, I was so stupid. I thought, well, you know, maybe somebody likes me. You know, it maybe blew my ego up. I can't imagine how it was, but I'm satisfied that's what happened. And then it just seemed like one thing after another, and then I ended up, meeting him, and God, I just, it just a kid that didn't have any business out of the house, and I mean, no, I didn't meet him right then.
Right.
And then I thought, well, that might be fun, and just never even thinking about, anything even being wrong with it or even being serious about it. And it was just a wrong thing, just a mistake. And
Was it kind of a secret? Did your parents know, or?
no,
Okay.
I was always, anything was exciting to me like that.
Well,
But-
he was charismatic, wasn't he? I mean, that's what I heard. He wasn't, not to you. He just was he like he was a lot of fun, or he paid a lot of attention to
he was
you?
a lot of fun.
He knew how to say the right things
He
to
was-
get your attention.
I love animals, and he was just like a big gentle bear. Now
Oh,
that's how I can describe him. And he is the last person in the world that I would ever believe did that.
because you never saw a side of him. Like, sometimes couples get into it. Like, I mean, especially it seems like more so when you're younger. It took me a while being married to figure out how to argue.
Not when I was young. In later years, way toward the very end, I did not want to get back with him. He, I won't say I wasn't scared of him. Really, I know a lot of people said I was scared of him. I don't think I had sense enough to be scared of anything. But we didn't have one thing in common, and I had grown up enough to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And he, I said I wasn't scared of him. I probably was, but not scared that he would hurt me or nothing. Just, it was just something I had sense enough to know I didn't have anything in common with, didn't have any business with. And the thing that made you miserable is from the day one, it was that somebody was trying to kill him. From the day one, it was like he was on the run all the time. He was nervous and he was a nervous type. Nothing like how those books portray him. We'd go to a restaurant and he'd always have to sit it with his back to the wall, and just all that old mess that when I was a kid I thought was exciting was ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
And just ridiculous. And when those books came out, excuse me, I know I'm talking too much.
No,
You're
no,
not.
you're not.
No,
That's why-
come on, don't
that's why-
apologize.
That's
please.
why we're here.
But when those books, even the first book came out, oh,
You knew it wasn't right from the jump, didn't you?
yeah, yes, I did. But see, I don't want to say things like that, and here's why I don't want to say things like that, and here's why I sure enough don't want to be involved in this, is because all these people that believe all this stuff, I don't want to be one to tell them any different. That's why I never talk to anybody.
Sure.
I don't want to hurt his image, because that's just like Davy Crockett or anything else. There's good about people believing that. There's probably no telling how many how many good police officers were inspired by this stuff about him. The last thing that I want to do, would ever want to do, is to make somebody think that none of that's right.
Well, but it's.
I understand you're on a different plane.
We have a different mission, yes,
I
ma'am.
know you do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know you probably can't understand why I feel
No,
like I do.
I do.
But I'm the last person in the world that would want to identify with anything.
I do as much as I possibly can, but you're right. We
job,
can't because
no.
but we haven't lived what you lived through. That's a lot happened a long time ago, and I can understand if I was that young and something like that happened with somebody that I don't want to assume. Did you love him? Were you in love with him?
I don't know if I was or not. I'm sure I thought I was.
Yeah.
I'm sure I thought
Those
I
feelings
was.
are so real when you're that age.
I had to have been.
Well, and that.
But at the same time, I just thought it was ridiculous when those books came out, and it really turned me against him.
Well, I think what it says is people experienced him differently, right? So there's different sides to him.
But I would never have wanted to say anything.
Oh, no, ma'am.
You could have a long
to have
time
hurt
ago.
anybody, and I sure never wanted to be in any of those books or mess. And I've dodged that forever.
But Miss Ann, let me tell you something. This isn't to hurt anybody. And I know you know this, but talking about it now, you saying something out loud now.
Well, I've just said it to y'all. I sure don't want to say
no,
any word.
and
It's not. You're not going to read it in the paper.
And
You're not going to read it in the paper. We don't tell the paper what we
But
do.
I'm saying,
No.
No, we don't. We don't.
But hearing you yourself say it out loud, I can't imagine, because you haven't been able to talk
Well, it's
about.
kind of making my heart run away.
Well, I don't want you.
I know you don't, but I mean, we're opening the door here that. Whew.
It's bringing up a lot of emotions in
Yeah,
Miss
that
Ann.
and even me starting telling that stuff I started telling y'all. I ain't thought of stuff like that in 100 years,
Yeah, but there's something about, the memories are still there, and there's
Sure, I hope not.
they are, because it's a part of your life, and it's a part of a bigger.
Well, I know it just I just tell you the truth. It just absolutely ruined my life, and I think he knew that before he died. I think he knew that. It ruined my life because those were years that I should have been. And I can't blame him for it, but I should have been with my kind of people, and I should have been normal, and and I'm sure I would have a family now and been married now or have a family, and that was a road that went nowhere.
That's hard to know when you're standing on it, though, isn't it?
You can't see the forest for the
can't.
trees.
You're right.
You sure can't.
How long were y'all together, Miss Ann?
Well, of course, we parted ways, but we really didn't part ways. Buford always had all kinds of girlfriends. And in the beginning, I was so stupid. I just thought that was lies, too. He'd just tell me that this was lies, and just like the fact that somebody was always after him. I believed that with all my heart, And that in itself was a terror program for me.
Yeah, because you were probably afraid when you would go out.
Yes, I was afraid.
Who were some of the other girls? The woman that you talked about that liked to drive the fast cars, what was her name?
Oh, her name was she was wild as a buck, though, I guess. but she was older than me. Her name was Janie Mae White. Janie Mae, who was she? She was Janie Mae Woods.
Janie Mae Woods, okay.
In Savannah.
Was she one of his girlfriends too?
I don't know, because I was like about in the 10th grade of high school, and of course she was already out of school, but our infatuation was fast cars.
Right.
And
You were kind of a little hellion, weren't you?
yes.
Hey, it takes one to know one, Miss Ann.
Yes,
I promise
you know,
it does.
I just.
Well, that was exciting.
It was exciting, and of course back in the 60s, fast cars was just, drag racing and all that stuff was just about like the hula hoop.
Everybody had one, right?
Yeah. But anyway, she I'll bet you that she probably wasn't. But then again, I never did hear that.
Well, who else did you hear was his girlfriend?
Well, let's see. Before I ever talked to him, I can remember hearing a lot of people that worked like in those. There used to be it's out there where the Amco, well, I don't know if it's Amco, it was called Amco. There was the clock truck stop and thrashers. And some of those waitresses there were like Norma Shelton. She was a real pretty girl.
She's still around?
No, that, that's funny. I think of people and I can just see them and I don't realize they've died. But Norma died here about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Let me see, who else? I used to hear tales about somebody named Sheila Willis. She wasn't Sheila Willis, she was Sheila Kirby then. But she worked at that truck stop, and she and I are probably the same age. But we didn't I probably shouldn't even say stuff like that, because everybody said it, but
right.
I don't know if it was true or not, but
That's
I imagine
true.
it was, because he had all kind of girlfriends, and I'm sure he told every one of us the same thing. But
were you all together for a few years? Was it like 5 years or longer?
No, it was longer than that. I'd say, but I don't know how to answer that, because there was a year or two toward the end that we talked. He would still call, or he would come by, and we talked, but we didn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, after he got to taking trips or whatever, what do you call it, with those old books and movie premieres. Yeah. And that's but now when he died, he had been out in California, and it was some kind of, I got where I didn't believe nothing, but it was some kind of stuff he was telling about how he was gonna play his own part. And anyway, he took a spell calling me, and he was calling me just every day, and it was on a Saturday night. There used to be a swimming pool right down there.
I saw you pointing.
I kept the gate, but
look
anyway,
at the deer waiting to eat too.
There used to be a swimming pool, and right before he died on Saturday, I was out in the swimming pool, and he came up, and I'll never forget looking. My head was just about even to where the walkway was around the pool, and he had on some blue gray looking shoes. I'm sure there's some real expensive something, and I just remember looking at those shoes. I don't know why I'm telling you that. Anyway, he said, wanted me to get out and get dressed, and there was a good restaurant at Corinth then. It was called Thurston's, and it was just right about just as you go in on Old 45, and it did have real good food. They had prime rib, and it was just real good. Of course, I've always been a glutton, so I would have liked to go, but you know, something had done come over me, and I think I hated his life so bad, that mess that somebody's always gonna kill him and all that stuff so bad, that I absolutely could not stand the thoughts of getting mixed back up with him. I absolutely could not. And at the same time, I wanted to believe what he was telling me was right, because I know when he first set in calling me again, he told me, and when he got back from out there, he said, you know, he said, I want us to settle our differences and get back together, because he said, I know that no matter where I am, that there's somebody that really loves me, and said, it's you. And it really touched me, but at the same time, I had done, maybe saying I had done, but I had really built a wall inside, and I had rather done anything is got back with him. And at the same time, there were some things that didn't make any sense to me about him.
Like what, Miss Ann?
Well, like all of a sudden, him realizing that somebody loved him, you know, like that would have mattered to him. Like he was buddies with Lloyd Tatum, real close with Lloyd Tatum, and Lloyd Tatum was an attorney at Henderson, and he was the same as Pusser type, only he had, you know, had a better personality, but you know, he liked women too, and Lloyd was always calling me, and it was a lot of strange happenings. Buford, when he came up here that I think it was that night, he told me, he said, you know, he said, we're gonna be sitting good either way. He was campaigning for Blanton, and of course Buford was a Republican, and he was campaigning for Blanton, and he had gone, seemed like he had gone to East Tennessee right before that, and he said that either that he had loaned Ray $60,000, and I know that probably don't sound like nothing now, but it was then, and he said, and I'm gonna be sitting good either way. He said he's either, I want to say he tied up that land over there that was maybe his daddy's farm or something. It was on off of 22 there, and he said, we're going, and I thought, we ain't gonna be nothing. But anyway, I listened, and he said, because of that, and he said, if I'm not Commissioner of Safety, he was doing it because Ray had promised him that he could be Commissioner of Safety, and he said, I'm gonna be sitting good either way, or we are. And I remember thinking, well, that's weird, but you know, you know how, I mean, that's just a con, I'm sure, you know, trying to make somebody a rabbit's foot out there.
Had he over the years, had he talked about wanting you to be his wife, like wanting to marry you or spend his life with you?
He wasn't that type, you know. He might want me to think that, but you know, that.
Well, did he? What would he do? Like, did he ever?
No, we didn't. We really didn't ever get into that.
Did he ever I mean, did he give you jewelry or anything
No,
like that?
yeah, let me turn the slide on. Hey, are you both in the door?
Are you freezing to death?
No.
Are you sure?
No,
The
no,
temperature is dropping.
If I'm shaking, it's because I'm talking about this.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, if you get cold, we can go in the truck. If you want to sit in the truck, I don't want.
Truck?
Yes, ma'am. That's my truck.
Oh, okay. Well, I like
You want to go sit in the truck?
The cat's sitting on. Look, the cat's sitting in the truck. Look at that.
I'm sorry for that.
I don't
No,
care.
no, we don't care.
I don't care. It's all
We
right.
love
But
animals.
anyway, he said that I'm going to turn that kitchen right out because I don't like to burn my electricity unnecessarily. I live when I live in the storage.
She lives what?
In a storage
Oh.
container.
I've been in 3 houses and I hadn't cleaned it up.
Oh, you're not gonna bother us at all.
Oh, but anyway, he said that he'd loaned him $60,000 and he's gonna either be commissioner of safety or have that farm over there. And you know,
I think you were talking
I
about
think I
the.
probably
I'm,
believe
I'm
that.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
I think I probably believe that. But what was strange is Lloyd and him were best friends, and Lloyd was not for him, not for Blank. And it made no bones about it. It wasn't for him, or at least Buford said he wasn't. And but then after Buford died, Blanton appointed Lloyd to a lifetime position as a Supreme Court judge, you know.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I had this vision when he died of these men with suits on chasing him, and it was a vision. It was bright as day. And I don't know that they were. I don't know why I got on that about him just thinking about that part.
Well, because
Oh, I know what I was going to back up to when he was standing there, and I remember just looking at those shoes. I saw those shoes for days, but what was irregular about it, and I think what really scared me, was Lloyd was calling me too, you know. And Buford was wanting to go to, he said, now we're going to get our differences straightened out. And he wanted to go to, he had a pontoon boat. He bought him a pontoon boat, and he wanted to go to Pickwick that next day. Well, at that time I was off on Wednesday afternoons, and he said, we're going to get, he said, just don't tell anybody where we're going, because he said people just worry me to death, and they did, you know, at that point. That was
He was
his
pretty.
high
Yeah, he
time.
was famous outside of
and
McNairy
they
County, wasn't he?
did, and he said, don't tell anybody, and I won't tell anybody. And he said, we'll just spend the day together. And he said, we're gonna get our differences straightened out. Well, he sounded for real, but then, I mean, I could not. That Saturday, what I'm getting at, that Saturday when he came up here and it was just about dark and wanted me to get out and us go eat, Lloyd had been calling me that evening too, and Buford and him had been together, and then later, I don't know, I just got to thinking about that, and I thought, now that don't make sense, you know. And I guess that kind of made me be scared.
did you have a bad feeling?
Yeah, I had a bad feeling.
Did Buford know that Lloyd was calling you too?
No. And Lloyd wouldn't have dare had Buford to know he was calling me. But what didn't make sense to me was, how could they have been together and been calling me,
Right.
you know?
That's that sixth sense that we have as women
Yes.
that you got to pay attention to, and you
Yeah.
did. Sounds like.
I always had to pay attention to it.
How did Buford take it when you told him no, you didn't want to go eat?
Oh, he just I guess that's probably what prompted our the deal about we're gonna get our differences straightened out and go over there to the pontoon boat and all that. And the last thing that I wanted to do was get any differences straightened out, because I had, like you said a while ago, when I said can't see the forest for the trees, I had seen them because I had gotten away from it enough that I could see it and knew I had no business in it.
Mm-hmm.
How long after that was it that he died?
The next week.
Really? So that was the last time you saw him, was when he came by here?
With those shoes. Those. It was a gray blue shoe, and I had a cat named Kitty Blue that looked just like Kitty Blue's fur.
Oh,
But it did. And, you know, that was just a weird looking shoe to me.
Did you talk to him again after that, or that was the last time?
No, I don't think I talked to him again. I think the date was set for then. And then some weird things happened the night that he died. And I think it was God's hand. I really do. I feel like everything I ever went through was God's hand. And
What happened the night he died?
The night he died, it was on, we had a board meeting. And then we had them on Tuesdays, and we had a board meeting. And I was just worried sick about my date with him for Wednesday. And I probably told everybody in the country about it. I mean, my friends and all. And I told my mother about it. My mother and I were close. And I told her, and she said, well, don't go. You know, I said, I just feel like I have to. You know, and I did. I felt like I had to. And I'm that way with people on everything I don't want to do. You know, I don't know if you could say you don't want to hurt their feelings, or if you're just too big a coward to say how you feel.
You're just a kind person.
But
you just want to accommodate
I
folks.
just felt like
you just want to be a kind person.
I felt like I had to, and it was just worrying me to death. And and I don't think I was so worried thinking he was gonna kill me like I was. Just absolutely didn't want nothing to do with them. And but anyway, then I felt horrible, you know, when that happened to him. But that night, I had a black Chevelle, and that night, when I got out of the board meeting, I was gonna go out to the fair, because he was supposed to be out there in a booth, and riding the donkey booth or something. But I thought, well, no. And anyway, Dennis and I had talked to him that day, and another guy that Cooney Sharp, we called him Cooney Sharp. I talked to them, and they said they was gonna be out there, and said, come on out there, so it'll be fun. Well, I don't know what'd be fun about it, but after the board meeting, I went on out there. Well, there's something I call the Canal Bridge. Y'all probably didn't even notice it, but it's right after you pass the railroad track on the south. You know, it's a bridge. Well, when I got to the Canal Bridge, my lights went off in my car. I mean, they just went off. I could still see, but my lights went off, and it was scary. And I thought, well, the alternator's gone out, and the lights did funny too, but they completely went out on the dash and all that. And I thought, well, I'm gonna have to turn this thing around and get home, or it's gonna quit on me. And that happened. And I wouldn't. It was dark through there then. It was like a service station right there on the bank of the canal and creek. Just wasn't light there, and everything just went black. And I thought, well, this alternator's gone. Well, I got back home, and I went on in the house. Well, the next morning, of course, I had a friend that called me and told me what had happened. Of course, I never slept another wink. I was had up there in the bed the rest of the night, and it was just the last thing in the world that I would have ever expected was something happening to him.
Yeah.
And so when I got up, I called somebody to come and check my car. I thought somebody's put a bomb in his car and somebody's put one on mine, and that's why it went black and all. Well, of course, there wasn't a thing wrong with my car, and it never did that again.
You mean the
So-
lights worked the next day when you
Oh,
cranked
it never did it again.
Wow.
And I know it was God's hand. There's no doubt it was. Because, I would have probably been in that car too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Wow.
I mean, who knows if I would
Right.
have or
Who
not.
knows?
But I might have thought, well, we'll ride around a little while and then I won't have to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
You won't have to go get on the
'cause
boat.
I was
Yeah.
so uptight about that.
That's,
It's crazy.
it's not crazy.
It's stuff I hadn't done in
It
probably sounds stupid to y'all.
No.
No,
It-
ma'am.
It's a big thing to me.
No,
because
ma'am.
it's a
not
huge,
stupid.
it's a big
It's just something
thing.
that I've never talked about it, but it's just unbelievable.
Well, when you walk with God, you know
I
His
know,
protection.
I know.
You
I
know, you know
that's
what
it-
that
yeah,
feels like.
Yes, I know
Yeah.
that. I know
And-
that.
And you had talked earlier about, I'd asked about jewelry. Did he ever give you a promise ring? He's a big talker. And of
He
course,
gave me I guess the first, I don't know if he gave me some diamond earrings first. And then he gave me a dinner ring one time that had some real pretty diamonds in it that I was having it fixed after he died, and they stole the diamonds out of it and
Oh,
replaced
my
it with tiny cut
goodness.
stones. That was at Basham's Jewelry. At that time, there was a
You're all
I
right.
think they were from Savannah.
do you need to feed
I
them?
need to give them something
Okay.
a little.
Okay.
I'm just gonna fit
Yeah.
these was outside. Yeah, I'm just gonna fit these a little something. And then I had another ring that was really pretty. It was more of an antique looking ring, and it had a good stone in it, and
Come on, baby. It's time to eat.
it had a good stone in it, and it was pretty. It was a pretty ring, but there was something.
Is there anything
There
I
was-
can get for you?
There was something weird about that, because it was not a new ring. Those other those other things were new, but this was not a new ring.
You think he gave you something he'd given somebody else before?
No, I don't think it was anything like that, but. Oh,
There's raccoons.
oh,
Goodness gracious.
Oh, I just hate them. That's why I take the bread out there. No, I don't think he gave me nothing before. I'll tell you something that was strange about him. It was just a beautiful ring, but it had been somebody's ring, and he claimed that he bought it, that he traded a bunch of guns for it with. I want to think there was a Robertson pawn shop at Henderson.
I remember that.
Okay, Fred Robertson. Was it Robertson or
Robertson.
Robertson. And anyway, he claimed he was friends with him, and he claimed that he had traded some guns for it. But then, one time, somebody was in here doing
I hear him
something.
coming up too.
Somebody was in here doing something, and he asked me to not wear that ring, and or give him the ring back, and I did. It was somebody I was going with, and he acted like it was that, but I always want, and I showed the ring to everybody that I thought might have ever seen it before. I remember showing it to Dennis, and because I wondered, you know, if it could have been some of his folks or something. But it wasn't. Nobody never recognized the ring. But I always thought funny about that ring.
Yeah.
But never heard anything else.
Do you remember, like, when the ambush and all that happened? Do you remember, like, do you remember the night before, like, you know, being with him or any? Do you have any memory?
No, I didn't want to be with him because there was that same God's hand.
Can you talk to me about
yeah.
that? If we go back to that, I know that's a
What you nibbling on me for?
long time ago, and
I didn't want to be with him then. And I think it was God's hand.
do you remember, like, do you remember what happened, like, leading up to that or that night, or, you know, what? Talk to me a little bit about what you remember from that.
I don't remember the same things that Dennis tries to say.
Well, but we don't care what Dennis says right now. I want to know what your memories are. Do you want us? I don't want to. Do you want us to go in?
That one slipped in. Is that one supposed to be
I'm
in?
so ashamed for y'all to go in here.
You have nothing.
Y'all, I don't let nobody in my house.
Okay,
well,
we
that's-
don't
I
want you to
mean,
be uncomfortable,
no,
Miss Ann.
Do you want to go sit in the
No.
truck? Because I don't want you to be
I don't
cold.
let anybody in the house, not because I don't want them in there, but because I ain't cleaning up. It's a garbage dump, but y'all can come in.
No, we
You know,
won't.
we
No,
can come.
I just want you to be warm.
Yeah, we don't
I
want
know
you to
you're
be
getting
cold.
cold.
Come on, let's just go in here.
Okay,
I don't even know if I can get you a chair or not, but come in here.
that's okay. I don't mind standing.
No, you
And
come
we
on.
can go to her truck. I just don't want you to be cold. I can tell you're shivering.
Here,
Look, my grandma.
Hello, babies.
has cats.
Hello,
We have
babies.
cats. I'm very comfortable around cats.
I dumped my purse out here. One can say
It's okay. You do not have
I
to
want you
explain
be
anything.
I
comfortable.
dumped my purse out this morning.
I do too. You should see my
And
bag.
Mhm.
this is awful.
No, it's
No,
it's
you were
not.
I
fine.
can sit here and I can sit over here.
Oh, look at these pictures. Is it
Are
okay?
these your family?
Yeah, I got lunch for one night.
What a nice looking.
I think it's awesome.
No,
I
it's.
can't believe I've lived
No,
here.
listen.
Listen, look. You haven't been to my house.
Listen.
I have three
Listen,
boys.
There's nobody in the world that would have this. You sit down.
Is it okay if I look at your pictures? Do you care if I walk around and look at your pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this was my aunt, and it's over there across from the Civic Center.
Okay.
And that was my granddaddy. And this is in the old depot. He's a depot agent.
Wow.
Oh,
This was me.
Oh
Look
my
at
goodness.
that.
Oh,
Gorgeous.
oh my goodness.
That was after Buford died. I was over there.
Oh my gosh.
This was my mom.
Well, I see where you get your good looks.
Oh,
Look
honey.
at that.
This was my sister and her husband.
That is.
And this was my daddy. And this is the old house. Right here.
Okay.
And right here, there was a carport. There was a breezeway and a carport
Okay.
on that. This was my meemaw. That was
Oh.
Daddy's mother. And this was me. And this is me and Daddy and Mr. Bobbitt. And this was my aunt that taught school. And this is me. Y'all probably think, well, she's in love with herself. No.
No.
Which
that's
one's
the
you?
fun.
Oh, right
the
there.
pigtails.
And then this was
Oh.
Sissy, the neighbor dog.
Miss Ann, may I get? This is just for our. This is not going to be published anywhere. May I get pictures of your picture? Like, take a picture of it.
What would you do with that?
It's a part of our case file and our.
Oh,
It's part of you. It helps us.
no!
But
Okay.
but I'm saying no. I understand, but I meant our stuff is confidential, is what I'm saying.
Well, honey, why would you want that?
Because
I'll tell you why.
Because your story is important.
And listen,
Not for public consumption, but for the truth. I don't want to scare you.
We have some old pictures that other people have given us of Buford with other people, and we don't know who some of those people are. Right?
Okay.
So if we took a picture of that one of you, we could say, oh no, this isn't
like
him
that
in that picture.
I didn't look like that with him. I was older than that.
Yeah, there's some other pictures of, like, the pictures that we have are the pictures of you in school and stuff. Like,
Well, is it okay if we take a picture of that one? Just
honey.
If you don't want us to, we won't.
This isn't going to end up on some. No. This is
just to eliminate, to say this is not Miss Ann in this
we have-
picture with Buford.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable. No, I wouldn't do anything to make you uncomfortable.
But are y'all building something about me?
No, absolutely not.
When we saw these pictures up here, it made us remember that we have pictures we're trying to identify people with Buford.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. And is it okay then if we take a picture of that one? I know you say you don't look like that, but in the face you look the same. Oh, gosh. You do. Is that okay?
I was thinking out there, I'm just going to tell you.
I'm blind. I'm blind here, and I can't actually see here.
Can I just tell you something, and I want you to receive this, okay? Because I need you to receive it. While we were sitting out there, I was thinking, you are one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
You are beautiful.
Oh, no. You can't.
You need to receive that. You can't. God wants you to receive that because you are, and you have a part of the truth that nobody else has, and it's.
I don't need to do this.
You only need to do what you need to do. But here's the thing. And I want to sit down.
Well, sit down.
Okay,
Get over here. Y'all, I am so ashamed of this.
You don't need to be ashamed.
You won't believe this morning when I dumped this purse out.
You don't need to be ashamed.
What if somebody was coming? I thought,
you don't.
God told you we were coming to see you. Didn't
No.
You don't need to be ashamed of one thing.
Not at all.
But just to be transparent with you, okay? You know, we are exploring the fact that Buford was not a great person to his wife, okay? Mm-hmm. He wasn't. And there's not many people. We have to look at that, and it's ugly and it's not pretty. But it is the truth, and here's why it's important. Because that's, our agency was founded on that truth, of Governor Blanton is part of the reason we're separated from the Highway Patrol. I don't know if you knew that. Because of his corruption, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation used to be the Tennessee Bureau of Identification under the Highway Patrol, under Governor Blanton. It was the corruption in that era that created our agency as you know it today.
No, I didn't know.
So that
I didn't know.
It's significant history. And when something happens, when we open a case, or when there's somebody, God forbid, in somebody's family that's taken, and there's all the pieces aren't adding up, we never close those cases. Like, we never close them.
Sure. Well, that's good.
And so this is one of those cases where, what seemed on the surface for years to be what happened, with everything that we know now, with science and everything else, it's not adding up. And so
the reason I don't want you to, the reason I don't want what I say to be something is because there are so many people that feel differently about him. And I never want to be.
But it's not about, you don't need to worry about what they feel about him. We're here to talk to you about your experience of him.
And you know what? You're putting too much pressure on yourself, Miss
You
Ann.
really are.
This is not, that the world isn't going to change their opinion about Buford Pusser because of what you say. And we're not going to tell the world what you said.
Oh,
no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I sure don't. That's something I don't talk about. I
know you don't.
I'm just rattling off.
No, I do not.
I have enjoyed our conversation very much. You have. I wasn't around during that time. My daddy was. He used to tell stories about Buford. He didn't know him personally, but he just knew him by reputation. Mm-hmm. And I grew up knowing my daddy would say, well, Buford Pusser died just up the road. Well, up the road to me was a mile. and I lived in South Jackson, so I had no idea it was all the way down here.
Really?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that right?
Yes, ma'am. And I've lived in West Tennessee my whole life. So you are helping us. Don't minimize what you've told us. It's important. You're painting a picture that we can only depend on what other people tell us.
But we do have a lot of other people's accounts of him that we don't go out and publish our, you don't see a lot of TBI stuff. Well, and that's the
somebody down.
and you're not. That's the beauty. You know what you see on TV? You see TBI responds and investigates. And the next thing you see is somebody's convicted of something. You don't hear about
The in-between.
the in-between, because our case files are protected, okay? And so that's where, I don't want...
But if you have a trial, here's my fear. Talking to not to y'all, but yes, because y'all are who you are, regardless of how nice you are. But I have a fear of having to say something in public about
you're not going to have to,
because this is such a shame.
you're not.
Well, if he had anything to do with her death, he's gone. And there's nobody to prosecute for it, right? So there's not a forum. It won't be in court. You won't have to get out in public and say anything.
I wouldn't want your records to show that I was the cause of.
You're not going to be the cause. You have one piece of a long puzzle. You have one piece of a long puzzle, but it's important. It's an important piece. It's a sacred piece. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't want to put all that pressure on you, but it really is like...
Y'all, I'm telling you the truth. I never believed he did that. I could not have believed he did that and been around him. I never believed that he did.
Before we came inside, because we were all freezing,
yeah.
You started to tell us about the night before Pauline was killed. Can you tell us? You said God had a hand in that. Tell us what happened.
Well, we all promised me I'll never have to say this in front of anybody.
I don't...
Can you promise me that?
Who are you afraid you're going to have to say this in front of?
Anybody that would be public.
Well, no, it's going to be... It's not going to be like that. I can't...
How do we not? Can we be sure?
Well, if he did it, the only person that could be punished for it is him, and
he's
dead.
I don't want to tell anybody.
Your business. I know. I don't blame you.
I mean, that's a disgrace.
But it's
and I wouldn't do it again for $1 million.
It's not a disgrace. Look, Miss Ann, that's not going to be on public display. That's not going to be out here. Your personal business is not going to be thrashed around.
What if we have to have a trial or something?
A trial is when somebody's charged. And there's nobody to charge because he's gone, right? What we're trying to do
Will your records ever be picked up like by some book writer?
No, ma'am.
Can nobody not see
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, they can't.
And what we have
They can't really.
No, ma'am. Our records are not subject to the open records law in Tennessee. There is a TCA code that's specific that our files are closed. So WBBJ can come tomorrow to investigate a homicide that happened in Jackson.
And my name would never be mentioned.
Well, we're not gonna. What you talk about with your personal relationship.
No, it's okay.
Do not. I understand that. I mean, I understand as much as I can put myself in your 19-year-old shoes at that point. I don't know for sure how old you were. You don't have to, ma'am. You don't, Miss Ann. You don't have to do
Please
that.
Please come sit down with
I don't
us.
let anybody in the house or anything ever.
I
know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear about the night before about that.
But what I want you to hear before that, when you come sit back down, I wish you could see you the way we see you.
What a brave woman you are.
But you don't see yourself that way. So before we talk about that, that's why I just want you to know, like, we are not judging you. I think it's very, you know what? You quietly led your life. You could have you could have blasted this all over the place. You are a kind and caring human being.
Well, y'all,
And you didn't want, you know why you didn't do any of those things? It was because you didn't want to hurt one single
that's
person.
exactly right. You're exactly right.
And I don't want to take that away from you, and it's not for us to take that away from you at all. But what I will appeal to is that, you know, Pauline's brother is still alive. And he's not getting any younger. And he loved his sister.
Well, of course he did.
He loved her better than anything. And he, you know, people say, well, why are you all talking about this again? You know, that's some people we've talked to that we interviewed. And different people have different, you know, versions of that, right? But one of the important things that I always like to say is that that's the beauty of it. Like, it's been this many years, but there's a TBI agent that's got up every day and put their 2 feet on the floor, and they have had her, a lady who died 56 years ago, on their mind. And it's sacred work. It is. And I know that you're a Christian. And I, you know, when you tell me about God saving you from, I absolutely 1,000% believe that, because I've seen it in my own life. And so I just want you to trust that we're not taking this lightly, and this is not going to be spread like somebody's gossip.
But I don't want to ever be faced with having to publicly tell somebody.
You're not going to publicly have to tell anything. You're not. That's why we're here talking to you.
Because, you know, I just get sick when I think back, you know.
And I don't want to make you sick.
But I won't tell you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had let's see. I had a vision in the night, and I saw there was 2 men in a silk. It was a bright color. No, I'm telling you what I saw, but my vision. One time in the night, I woke up and I was terrified, and I saw a man. My daddy used to drink, and he when he did, we called it the terror program, because he'd get really mean, and with my mother and all. I was always afraid he was gonna kill her or maybe one, but it was a deep dark secret, and I don't know, he just went through a sick spell, and then he got back to normal again. He was all right, and I don't want to sound disrespectful by telling it.
No, ma'am.
But I was always scared to death that in one of those terror programs that mother would get killed. And so one night, it was when I first went to school, and I came in, and I was woke up awake with a vision of a man in a Cadillac, and I was running down an old gravel road, or old country road looking gravel road. And at the end of the road, I could feel the terror. And at the end of the road, I ran right into this man sitting in this big Cadillac, and he was just laughing hysterically. And I thought, something's happened. I know this don't make sense, but I thought something's happening.
I'm with you.
Something's happening, you know, to mother, and it was the most terror. I could feel the terror. It was unbelievable how scary it was. And when I got to the end of that road, it was as bright as day, and it was this man sitting in this Cadillac, and he was laughing and laughing, and he said, I killed your mother. And I said, I've got to get the sheriff. I've got to get the sheriff. And that's when I ran head on into him, and he laughed and he said, I am the sheriff. And I know that don't sound scary now.
No, it does.
But when
It
you're
does.
young and it was as bright as day, it was the scariest thing. And even right now, I can feel it in my face, my nerves. And it was so bad that I got under my mother and daddy's bed because I was absolutely terrified. And I know that sounds like a nut.
No, it
No,
doesn't
it
either.
doesn't.
But I was so scared. I ran down the hall and I got under their bed, and I just couldn't quit crying about it. And the next day, and my daddy was good as gold when he didn't drink. And I remember he just kept saying, "Oh, it's some." I said, "I've never seen that face before. I know it's somebody you've seen that just in your subconscious." Well, it wasn't. Well, whenever this thing happened, that y'all are wanting to know about, during that week, or like a day or two, I don't know if it was the Thursday. No, it was on I believe it might have been anyway, earlier in the week. Buford was telling me, and that I had this hilarious friend across the street. Her name was Barbara Cox, and he was telling me that there was a contract out on him, and he said there's somebody here gonna kill me, and he said that those old beer joint people and all kept him informed. And I want to think that it was Billy Hopkins, and that's somebody kin to Dennis and the Halfcocks too. You see, all these old state line people and those people, they would cut each other's throats all the time by telling
Sure.
on each other. And he had certain ones that would tell him stuff. And Billy Hopkins, I think, was W.O. Hathcock's, Dennis's daddy's nephew. I kind of think it's kind of that way. Anyway, he was running. He was running just a little beer place there at Eastview, and so he. I think he's the one that might have told Buford that these men were going to be in here that week. Well, he was telling me about that, and so he said, I want to just drive around to some places and see if I see somebody any of their car, or see somebody with some strange tags or something. Well, I thought that was exciting. Now, I know y'all are thinking,
No. When I grew up
young and impressionable.
I grew up in a small town,
Yeah,
too, so I know.
So you know,
Yeah.
there's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
That's exciting.
So I
Yeah.
thought, well, this is so exciting, and see, I'd never been in the Shamrock or any of those joints or nothing, because oh Lord, I'd have been scared to death. But I wasn't scared to do that, because here's the big bear that's gonna take care of everything, and he needs me to drive him around down there. Well,
Do you remember what you were driving?
Yeah.
Your car?
Yeah, I had a black '65 Super Sports, and it had lake pipes on the side, and I thought I was the
Hottest ticket in town, weren't you?
Yeah. And so I got Barbara, and we called her Big Star. Daddy did. We named her Big Star because Daddy had gotten drunk one day, and we were in that old house there. Only it had the carport and everything, and there was a magnolia tree right in the middle that grew all the way right in the front yard that grew all the way down to the ground. And Daddy had gotten behind the magnolia spine over there on Barbara. Barbara was a great old big fat girl that had the prettiest face you ever saw. She looked like Dolly Parton. Had that little those blonde
Oh, wow.
curls, and she had those big old moon eyes, and all the men were just wild about her, and that was the most exciting thing to me that ever was, that was just the fun house, and I just couldn't believe you know, such things as this. And I thought it was the most exciting thing I'd ever watched. But anyway, so Barbara, yeah, she'd like to let him out, so she'd like to go. So we picked him up in Eastview, and there was a little old park. Now go on, all that kind of stuff out there now. There was a little old park there at Eastview, and we picked him up there, and we went on down and pulled in the Shamrock. Of course, that was the scariest thing I ever saw. But I thought, oh boy, this is exciting, and pulled around back, and he said he wanted to go in there and check something or talk to somebody. And I don't know if he saw a car like what he was claiming might have them in it or not. I can't remember, but I know Barbara and I both are back there behind the Shamrock, you know, in the parking lot. I remember us just saying, oh, look at that, just sitting there and just looking and doing. And now this is on that Thursday night. This is on that Thursday night. It wasn't Tuesday. It was on that Thursday night. And anyway, when we got back, and then we were gonna go out 57 on toward Pickwick, you know, that way, like you go to Pickwick. Anyway, I don't know what kind of car it was that he saw back there, but whatever it was, he got out of the car and he left us, and we just was like doing like what I said, just the biggest thing we've ever done, you know, back here in this parking lot. And so we came on back, and he wanted to go 57, and we turned there where the little park is and going on toward Pickwick, and these two men in this Cadillac, and I'll always believe that it's the man in the vision. I don't know if it came out of Billy Hopkins' place there or what, and I have thought over and over and over about it. I don't know if the light was on in there, he was doing something in the glove compartment or what, but I was driving, and Buford was down in the floorboard in the back, and Big Star sitting in the front there with me, and we looked, and it got right beside us, just like and we nicknamed it the Graceful Bird, Barbara and I did, because this big Cadillac was just like it floated, and it came up beside us, and it was, I don't know if this man was doing something in that glove compartment, I guess, because they had the interior light on. Mm-hmm. And he turned and looked at me, and I looked at him, and it was the scariest thing. And I relate that to that vision. And it was just scary, and Barbara and I talked about it.
Did Buford, what was
Buford was down in the floor.
So he never saw the Cadillac, or
he bound had seen it, or why would he been in the floor?
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
He was
I
in
thought maybe he was in the floorboard
Okay.
to begin with. I misunderstood.
Well,
No.
he probably was in the floorboard, but
Was
but
he?
we were telling him,
Yeah.
him, and this man turns there and he looks at me.
Yeah.
And
Was he talking about was he really building it up like we were like you all were on this, not adventure, but that you're like
we were helping him investigate.
Yeah.
Because there was supposed to be a hitman in here.
Yeah.
There was a contract on him, and we were supposed to be helping him,
Mm-hmm.
and we thought we were.
Mm-hmm.
And then that scary the Graceful Bird came up.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of a silvery blue, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And these men did not look like any McNair County men.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it was just like the one in the vision. he had a white shirt, and I don't know how to, and I don't want to say anything that's not nice, but
No, you're not going to look.
But used to Hicks would do their shirts
Yeah.
somewhat,
Right.
and that's a telltale sign. I mean,
Were his
I don't
shirts-
care
what-
how dressed
was it
up
turned
they are.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care how dressed up they are. That's just to me. That was just a
Like a
Hick.
yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
And it might not be, but then I thought it was, and so Barbara and I were looking, and we were trying to tell him what was beside us, and he wouldn't ever raise up to look or anything, and I thought after this happened, I thought that was who had done that.
Mm-hmm.
Was who was beside us.
But why do you think he wouldn't raise up? What was he saying, that he was hiding from them, or he was afraid they were going to kill him, or?
He wasn't saying anything. It was like he wanted to see them, but didn't want anybody to see him.
Where'd the car go? Did they just go on blow past you?
It
Or what did
finally
they do?
went past us, but it was like it never went past us.
Mm-hmm.
And it did, and when it did, it was just the most graceful thing. It just, I know that.
No, it doesn't.
Remind me, I'm not familiar enough with McNairy County to know. So when y'all left the bar and we're going on 57 toward Pickwick, was the car behind you then, or did it come out from a side road and get behind you?
I had thought lots about it, and I think it came out from the side road there by Billy Hopkins' place.
Okay.
That's what I think. Because there was another little road that kind of did, like where a trailer or something had been. Like, here's Billy Hopkins' place, and then here was this little road that a trailer might have been there or not been there till after, but it was like a little hiding place.
Y'all didn't see that car at the beer joint, did you?
No, we did not see it
Okay.
at the Shamrock. We did
Okay.
not see it at the Shamrock. So, anyway, it did that, okay? I just kept going over and over in my mind seeing that man, and thinking, but I really didn't connect it, but I felt scared. I felt scared. Well, then the night that happened, he was wanting to do the same thing again. And I don't know if it was because of seeing that man that scared me or what. Well, it was God's hand. I absolutely did not want to do that. I did not want to do nothing.
What did he say? What did he call that when he would ask you to do that? Like that whole scenario. Like, what would he say? You want to go right around, or will you drive me around, or what would he say? What did he call it?
I don't know if he called it right around. Or let's go down and let's just go down 45, or I don't know what he called
Was
it.
this Saturday night? The Saturday night?
No, this was on Thursday night.
Okay.
So how many times had you done that with him? The time that you saw the Cadillac, had you done that with him before, driving around, looking around? How many times?
I want to think that we had done that like earlier in the week.
Okay.
And I get the days mixed up. But before Barbara died, I said to Barbara, Barbara, when we saw the graceful bird, and how could she forget? And I said, was that on Thursday night, or was it on Friday night? And she tried to tell me she thought it was on Friday night, but it wasn't. It wasn't on Friday night. It had to be on Thursday night.
When you went out earlier in the week to do it, was Big Star with you then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I interrupted you. You were talking about he wanted to do it again, and you
Yeah,
didn't want
he
to.
wanted to do it again, and I didn't want to. He wanted me to meet him out there at Eastview. And I had decided that I didn't want to play no more because I was scared. I really believed, and I really believed that somebody was after him. I believed it with all my heart. I, we all believed him. We all believed him. I believe everybody in this county thought that he was going to get killed, that somebody was going to kill him, that the state line bunch was going to kill him. Everybody I knew thought that.
Did you meet him that night to tell him you didn't want to do it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Y'all meet out at Eastview?
No, I didn't meet him. I didn't. Here's what I did.
Was this Saturday? This was the third. It was Friday.
Friday. And here's what I did. And I got to Eastview, and I had completely changed my mind, and I was not going to meet him. And I had Barbara with me then, again, and there was a car sitting in that little park that looked about like what he had. Now, when me and Dennis talked about it, the last time that me and Dennis talked about this mess, Dennis said to me, he said, "Did you not see that car? You know, this car I'm talking about?" I said, "Yeah, it's one old car that looked about like what he was driving." He said, "Yeah." He said, "That's the car that had the guns. Then you traded some guns with or had the guns in it." He said, "You saw it?" I said, "Dennis, I did not. I know I did not. I do remember an old car that looked like that. But, and then I know Dennis tried to say that I pulled down in there and that he told me to get out of there. If he'd ever told me to get out of anything during that period, I can assure you that it would have been the only time.
Spitfire right here, I'm telling
you. You know, some man say something like that to you.
That's it, isn't it?
Well, of course it is. Well, nobody, nobody be somewhere and somebody talk to them like that.
Well, sometimes couples,
yeah, couples.
Couples.
But we wasn't no couple at that time.
You were on a break.
That was too early. Absolutely nothing like. But Dennis claims that he watched him with whoever's in that old car. I said, he said, "You didn't meet him that night." I said, "No, I did not meet him that night."
So you went there with you and Big Star, and you saw that car that you thought was his. Did you just turn around and leave and go back, or what'd you do?
Yes, I did. But it didn't have nothing to do with that car.
Okay. You'd already decided you weren't going to do it.
I'd already decided that I just absolutely did not want to be with him that night. And I know that, so help me, that's the truth. I absolutely had decided that. And I think that it had to do with seeing that man the night before.
Did you ever talk to Buford anymore that night, or did you see him?
Yes, I'd like to say no, but I want more than anything to say no, but the Lord tells me not to laugh.
We had that conversation earlier, didn't we?
But anyway, so we came on back, and me and Star were sitting in the house listening to some records, and the phone rang, and it was him, and he was mad, and he said, "Why didn't you stop?" And I said, "Well, I kind of got the sore throat, and I remember that.
I'm gonna wash my hair too."
I kind of did have the sore throat. And I said, I just don't feel like doing anything tonight. And then he was just he wasn't himself. And he.
What do you mean? Do you think he'd been drinking, or what do you mean he wasn't himself?
I don't think it was to do with. I don't know.
What did he say?
Well, he said that he said I've got to talk to you. He said, I've got to talk to you. And he said, why don't you bring her with you tonight? Well, I didn't want to say him. But anyway, you know, and I thought, well, you know, this is not normal. And so I said, well, I just, not tonight. And he said, I've got to talk to you. And, you know, just acted like he was desperate to talk to me. And he just kept on and on. And I didn't want to talk to him, or I didn't want to see him.
Right.
And so I think it was from seeing that man in that Cadillac. Now I know that all that sounds foolish.
No,
but
it doesn't.
I really
You
do.
were-
I think it was it
Something was preventing
I think
you.
something might have knocked some sense into me, you know. And so anyway, Star lived just right across the street. Well, and the old, it was in the old house there, and it was well, anyway, that doesn't matter. It's just right. It was facing it more, you know, just really facing it, and it was closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that has to do with it, but I and the carport was on the front, and I'd already put the car in the carport, and then come back to Stars, and you know, this was happening. So he said, and now the fire station wasn't up here then. It had been an old county garage building up there, and they filled all that in, and you know, it was really just, you might say, sitting on the side of the road, and it was like an old road bed between where the fire station is and where these houses, the backyard is. And anyway, he just telling the most desperate voice I ever heard, and he said, I've got to talk to you. He said, I've got to talk to you. And he said, I'm gonna die tonight. He said, I'm gonna die. And I mean, it was real. And so I said, well, I can't go. And he said, well, just walk up to the cemetery. He said, I'll be up there. And said, just walk up to the cemetery. So, fool-like, I didn't want to. But I told Barbara, I said, something's bad wrong. And I said, I'm gonna walk up here to meet him in the cemetery. So I started, I went out the back, her backyard, and started to go up the hill. And when I did, he just floorboarded the car that came out of nowhere down there, and I took off running just as hard as I could run. And I think the reason that I ran, the reason I was scared, was on account of seeing that man in that Cadillac. And I was ran just, and anyway, this other little house is just right next door here, you know. And see, Buford couldn't afford to be seen around here. Well, totally out of his character. Well, see, he just floorboarded that car, and if I hadn't have been fast on my feet, he'd probably run over me. And I mean, that's how it sounded. You know how a car and those engines would sound when you floorboarded them, and that's exactly what he did. And he was in the dark, and I wasn't looking for nothing like that. You know, I was thinking he was in the cemetery. But anyway, so I started screaming for Barbara, and Barbara came out the back. About that time, I hung my neck on her clothesline and did a flip.
I'm
not laughing at you, but just I'm visualizing this as you're describing.
I'm in the story.
Yeah, I'm in that car, and so it just kept coming, and so.
Did you hurt yourself?
Yes, it hurt. I mean, it hurt. I hurt myself, but anyway, she was trying to, help me in there. And so we got on in, and he just shot right on down here. I mean, just like he was, out in the woods or something, just pull right on in back there. Well, Barbara and I, just didn't know what to think.
Are y'all back inside now, or are you outside?
Barbara,
Okay.
yeah, we made it. She helped pull me right on there. and and Barbara had two children, little children, that just thought he was their idol,
Yeah.
And so we were trying to be quiet when we got in the house, and here he came. And
he came in the house?
Well, we locked the door. We had the screen. We had screens in the door, and we locked the door. And he was just with big old paws on the door, and I just.
Was he saying anything?
Yes.
What was he saying?
He said, "You gotta talk to me." He said, and here's what he kept saying. He said, "You're gonna be putting flowers on my grave in the morning." No, tomorrow in the morning. He kept saying that, and I thought, well, nobody's putting flowers anywhere if somebody just died. But anyway, that's what he kept saying. He just kept saying that.
Yeah.
He said, "You're gonna be putting flowers on my grave in the morning." And he said, "You've got to talk to me." And I said, he said, "You've got to." And I said, I don't want to. And by that time, and of course I'm sure it made him mad, but he just wasn't himself at all. And I think he was scared to death. And that's why that I have held all those years till this stuff has started, that I could never believe that he had done that, because the man was scared to death, or he wouldn't have been crazy like that. And I told Dennis that, and it made Dennis mad. And because he wants so much for it to be the other way.
Well, and it's hard either way. Just from the standpoint, looking back, because we all have to think, like, not 18, 19 years old. Oh my goodness, if I could sit down and talk to that girl that I was, what I would tell.
I see some smacking in the back of the head going on.
Perish the thought.
And the funny thing about memories is, Miss Ann, like, you remember that experientially, so you remember it as an experience, and you experienced it as a 19-year-old. Have you thought back, thinking about, because I'm sure, like, looking back, did you think he would sometimes manipulate you by using that fear?
I didn't have sense enough to even know what manipulate was.
Yeah, then you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
then you wouldn't.
What about now that you got some life experience?
I've tried not to think any about it.
I know.
When we sat
it's
down,
so dreadful.
when we sat down with you out in the carport, just as soon as we sat down, you were talking about how he was able to. You didn't say manipulate. You described yourself as gullible.
Yeah, because I believe everything he told me.
Right.
And I don't know why I thought that he would be, that I could believe him.
Right.
Well, but how would you believe any different, Miss Ann?
Well,
19, he was sheriff. He had a lot of credibility in terms of society. I mean, he was older. He had he had a lot of power and control, and I mean, of course, what you would think that what he's saying is credible, and he had a dangerous job. I mean,
yes,
by all
I had
accounts.
heard everybody and my folks and everybody talk about, somebody's gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him. They'll get him.
He was making waves.
Yes, and I believed all that stuff about the state line people. I believed that. I had no reason not to believe that.
And that's absolutely. But
And,
but in that night, he seemed desperate.
He was desperate. And
What
I
did he
couldn't
want?
understand the thing that I never understood was, why would he have wanted me with him? And what I really didn't understand is the next morning when I heard what had happened, I couldn't understand why in the world that he took her. And later on in our courtship, I asked him, I said, Buford, why? Why did you let her go with you? Why? And he told me one time, and if I'd have had 1.5 cents or even slowed down long enough to have digested it, I think back on it now, and it's ridiculous. He told me that this contract was out on him, and that if he hadn't have taken her, that they would have come in the house, and like that the children would have been killed. That it was like two people had to die. After that, I started feeling awful and feeling like that if I would have gone with him, that she wouldn't have lived.
No.
And that I did. For the longest.
But you've come to realize that wouldn't have mattered, right?
Well,
I hope you have.
About I'd say about 2 years ago, when Dennis and I were having that conversation the last time we talked about him, he said, why would you think anything that foolish? Said he was going to kill you too. And I said, Dennis, that don't even make any sense. Because, see, Dennis always mad at me because I said that I would never believe that he did that. And the reason being, because of these things that I've told y'all.
Do you need to get that?
No, I don't like to. Nobody wouldn't call y'all here, would they?
No.
Did you know Pauline?
Never met her. Never met her. Never saw her. Never saw anything but that tiger picture. That, that's the only thing. I know one time Tawana asked me later, came to see me about that. I loved Tawana when she was a little girl, and she loved me. But somebody had bound to have said somebody about like Dennis probably had said something to her. I know because it wasn't but just a few years, probably a year or two before she died. She came to me and she said, Did you know Mama? Did you know? I never saw her. I never saw her. Never even saw her on the street. I'd never seen her. The truth of the matter is, even as stupid as I was then, if I had ever met her or have ever known her, you couldn't have tied me with him. Because I got this thing about stuff like that. To me,
Personalizes
it's like below the belt stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it doesn't make you.
It does. It does.
But
It
I
does.
could never be friends with somebody
And do that.
Yeah.
Do you think she knew about you?
I don't know how she would have.
Did Buford ever say anything about his relationship with Pauline? Did he, good, bad, ugly, anything?
No, in the beginning when I was hesitant about having anything to do with him, he told me, he said, she goes her way and I go mine. He said, and I was such a fool. Like that was the president. He said, we just live together for political reasons. He said, political, like we were.
In D.C. or something.
Yeah.
Well,
governor's mansion.
Well, politics was big in McNairy County.
But I didn't have no better sense. And I thought back about that a many times, and I thought, how could you have been that stupid sheriff or a little old nothing thing?
But sheriffs were big time then. If you know this,
I bet
sheriffs
you were a little
owned,
starstruck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody would have been.
I mean, he had a lot of, and sheriffs had a lot of power. I mean,
I think what it was is nothing had worked that I ever wanted to work. With any of the men that I ever want, any of the boys that I ever want, the ones I wanted didn't want me, and the ones I didn't want was the only ones that did. And I think I thought it was being a big shot, like drag racing, you know, I don't mean a big shot.
No,
you
but
know,
it would have been.
Be tough.
Well, and to be on the arm of somebody
Yeah,
that I mean, he's big and strong,
But-
and that's what we all want. Yeah, we all want that, especially when you're young. You really want that, and it's exciting. You know, like
yeah, and I think I thought that, you know, like I could, you know, I'd be big too, you know. I was
yeah.
big, all right.
Well, but we all.
No, but back to the question. I never did, and I wished I had, because if I had, like I said, I know that sounds don't make sense, but I'm that way.
It does make
It
sense
does
to
make
me.
sense.
I do
I'm
understand
sure
that.
if I did, I would have liked her better than I did him. Really, you know, probably, because later I heard nice things about her.
Well, the next day when all that happened, and after
Oh my God, the next day, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. The next day, I could
How'd you
not
find out?
believe it. Mother told me, well, mother told me, and I think maybe when she took Daddy to work, or maybe Daddy had called back and told her, and they didn't make any kind of connection. But I remember Mother telling me what had happened. Lord, I jumped up and I took off running over there to Star's house, and Star was her. She slept in that front bedroom, you know, on the other side, and she had a big flowing pink neck, those big curls, you know. And late. I started beating on Star's window with both hands, and it's. I got sick at my stomach and threw up right there by the window, and was Barbara, you know, come out. Well, it just terrified us, and he had torn up the screen door.
Oh, he tore it up when
When
he was beating on it? Did he punch it or did he just tear it off?
No, he was determined that I was going. He was determined.
He said, "Get out here, you're going." Did he ever say
never
that?
got rough.
Okay.
It was just that he was pitiful. Mm-hmm. He was pitiful.
Was he crying?
Well, I think he was,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he probably was. But now, as far as seeing the tears, I couldn't see any tears. I'm sure they were crocodile tears.
Yeah. But were you afraid that he might? Did something feel like that he might hurt you? Why you didn't open that door?
Well, he was determined that I was going. He was determined that I was going to go with him, because he said he had something to tell me, that he was going to die and that he would never. And I remember ended up saying, I don't want to die too. Why do you want me to die too?
Yeah.
You know, I was saying, well, I don't want to die. Why do you want me to die too? And he was saying, I don't want to leave you.
I don't want to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever tell you what he wanted to talk to you about, other than you were going to put flowers on his grave
he just kept saying that, and so I had to get Star in on it, and Star could do those big eyes and all, and Star said, "Now, beautiful, you know, I've got 2 little boys in here that just adore you, and that you don't want them to see you like this." And, you know, she kept trying to reason with him. And he kept saying, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'll be dead tomorrow. He kept saying, you're going to be putting flowers on my grave. He just kept saying that. And, you know, just kept saying it. And she kept saying, go on. Well, I done got mad about it, and I was ready for him to go. And I don't know if we ended up knocking him off the porch or not.
I'd like to have seen that.
Well, I'm telling you, I mean, I was determined I wasn't going.
And you stood your ground, didn't you?
Yes, but I mean, and something had to be wrong with him, or he. I mean, you're talking two women. I mean, we couldn't, if something hadn't have been wrong, we probably couldn't have got rid of him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something had to be wrong, but I always thought that he was terrified. I always thought that he was scared to death and terrified. But here about 2 years ago, it might have been 3, last time Dennis and I talked about this, he told me that I was foolish for thinking all that stuff, and I was foolish for thinking that if I had a gone, that she could have lived,
Mm-hmm.
because he said, "How do you know?" That crackling boy said, "How do you know? How do you know that he didn't want to kill both of you?" And well, that made no sense, and it still makes no sense. I he just kept, he had said all week that there was a contract on him. Well, I didn't know about stuff like that, but I thought it was a big, that's how the mafia people probably did,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But now looking back, you realize like after that he lived just fine. Nobody
Well,
killed him.
nobody killed him, but he was always like he was scared, and he was always kind of jerking around and nervous. We'd go somewhere to eat good, he'd have to be at the back of the wall. I remember one time there was this supposed to be some real gypsies. They were this fortune teller on the other side of Henderson, and it was in a trailer up there. Well, he just had a fit. He wanted to go up there to that because he was just sure Towhead was going to kill him. He was just positive that Towhead was going to kill him.
Was this after the?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Towhead.
yes. Towhead White.
Okay.
He was just sure Towhead was going to kill him, and he was just... you couldn't enjoy... I mean, the time with him was awful because you couldn't enjoy anything because somebody's always gonna kill him, somebody's after him, and I believed it, and I thought I was in danger every time. I couldn't enjoy nothing every time I went somewhere for fear I'd get killed before I got back home.
Yeah.
Did you all go to the fortune teller?
Yeah, we went to the fortune
What
teller.
did she tell?
So we got up there, and it wasn't the right hours for the fortune teller because he never could go anywhere at a normal time that he should have, and we had to go early. And
What time did you go?
it was like early, and the gypsy was washing her hair, and that took away from the fortune teller. And she was in there getting ready to do it, you know, and she was supposed to be really good. So he went first, and when he came out, he was in a good mood. But when she got my hand, she had the saddest look that ever was, and I would have wished 1,000 times I'd never gone to her. She told me, she said, "I say no marriage for you, and you'll never be happy." She said, "You'll have enough." I kept saying, "Well, will I have any money? You know, will I be rich? Will I have any money?" No, she said, "You'll have enough. You'll have enough. You're not gonna want for anything." But she said, "I say no happiness for you." And I said, "Will I not get married or have children or anything?" And she said, "I say no marriage for you." She told me that I would live to be 79 years old, and I'm 76.
You gonna prove her wrong though.
And I pray, I say, "Man, nobody but the Lord knows."
That's right.
You know,
He didn't give that.
So and so and so and so. But I wished I hadn't even, you know, that's why you're not supposed to mess with that
Did
stuff.
she tell you that 2 nosy women were going to come see you at your house
No.
sometime and talk to you? See, that she doesn't know what she's talking about, does she?
but she talked on the way home. He was in the best mood, and I was just pitiful because, you know, I wanted to be normal and have a family, and you know that. And so, but he was so happy because she had told him that he would not die by the gun, and so that way he knew that Towhead was not gonna kill him. He was always claiming Towhead was gonna kill him, and or these ever who had, and see, he always acted like he was looking for Pauline's killer. He always acted like that. And he never one time dropped the ball in portraying that with me. Never once. And you would think as many things as many shapes as he and I had been in, you would think that at some point that you know that he would have messed up if
Was his story that he told you about what happened, was it always the same, consistent every time he told it?
I never brought it up except the one time, and that's early on when I asked him that I could not imagine him taking her with him.
Yeah.
When he knew he was gonna get killed.
Did he tell you? Did he tell you about like how he got her to go?
No, he never said that. He never said
What did
that.
he tell you?
And see, I never questioned him about that kind of stuff because
Were you afraid to?
I don't know if I was. What? I don't know if I was. I don't think I was afraid because when I get mad, I know one time I got mad at him and he had his neck worked on. Y'all are gonna think I'm horrible.
No.
But something went wrong. I don't know if he pulled my hair or what, but I hung my cloth in that neck and ripped it open. I know y'all can't believe that you're talking to somebody that would do that.
Oh, you don't know what we're capable of.
He pushed your buttons.
He pulled your hair. Were you all into it, arguing, or were you?
No.
Were you all being intimate and he got rough?
No. I can't remember. We got into it. About some, no, it was over him and some of his women, and I don't know.
He was catting around.
Oh, you'd catch him and stuff, and you'd want to believe it, but it'd just be a pure lie. Yeah.
And he lied a lot, didn't he, too?
Well, about those women, yeah, I know he did, but for the longest, I didn't, understand it.
Did y'all ever live together?
No. I was afraid to leave Mama. No.
But you were saying that how long after the ambush did that happen where he pulled your hair? Y'all got into it pretty rough.
Years later. It's after we got to not liking each other.
Well, tell us what happened.
I can't remember what that even came up over, but he had pulled my hair, and it was that old phony mess. We would have gotten along good if that old book, if he hadn't started trying to live this story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he would have been whoever he was, and been straight up, I would have never. I would have always loved him.
Mm-hmm.
But when he started acting the part of this movie and this book and this stuff, it made me sick. It made me sick, and I had no right to none of it. You know, I had no right even having any feelings about it.
But you did too.
But it just
made you mad.
I just wanted to tear him up over it, whip him. Whip some sense into him. Yes, I did, because it was so fake. It just was disgusting. Those old movie people, ridiculous.
Going back to the day after it happened, you were knocking on Star's window.
Okay, I knocked on Star's window over there, and I got sick in my stomach, go up, I was upset, and Star came out, and we thought, oh my God, what if somebody knows he's been here? So we got us the hot water hose, and we soaked down the door real good. And
well, that's inventive. Yeah. So for fingerprints,
we thought somebody would get his fingerprints. You know, we figured they'd be everywhere, and somebody'd find out he'd been there. And so we, we washed and we just all the pieces.
Do you
over
remember what time this was on?
when we washed the
Yeah.
house and all? Well,
Was it in the early morning hours or
not
the?
real early because Daddy didn't go to work till 8 o'clock, and so Mother would have not been saying a word in front of him. So it was, I'd say 8:30, 9 o'clock. And when we washed the house, it was probably on up in the day because it took us a while to come to our senses.
Do you remember what time he was there? This is a long time ago, but do you remember what time he was there and that happened? Like 1 or 2, or in the morning, or was it
I doubt it was that late, but it was late. But I doubt it.
like
No,
midnight
I don't
or
know
something?
the time. It come near being closer to midnight because I would have never been out after midnight. So I'd say, it was close to that.
Mm-hmm.
When Buford was in the hospital at Memphis, did you go see him?
Oh God, no! I never wanted to see him again. No, no.
Somebody told us that you picked him up in Memphis and brought him back
Oh,
after he got
no.
released from the hospital.
No, you know who that may have been?
Who?
I just remembered. That y'all were asking me about girlfriends. There was a girl. Her name was Jackie Northcutt.
Okay.
She was a nurse at Savannah. She had a car. Now mine was a Super Sports and all soaked up, but she had a black '65 Chevrolet too. Years to come, I don't know how many years, several years after that, there was a guy named Muscles Hendricks. He was just a skinny guy that lived over at Adamsville. He was he liked to do politics, and he was friends with Buford and all them, and me too. He was friends with me too. Well, he told me that he helped me find out about her. Anyway, Dewana did this. Okay, Dewana loved me, and I did her when she was little. Well, Buford now, trying to act like that he was just in love with me, he took Jackie with their family to Florida.
That's the way you show somebody
And-
you love them,
and-
is take another
Oh,
woman.
I'd
and
be
her family to
pissed.
Florida.
I'm sorry, I'd be
ne-
mad.
Never acted like that he went with anybody but me. Never. Just, making me think that I was just dead. Well, Dewana told me about Jackie, and me and her hold hands and say, I wish Jackie'd go to town. We gotta catch
Spells out.
And then later, though, I was telling Muscles about it, and Muscles was going to try to, we knew she lived in Savannah. Muscles was going to try to find out where she lived. Well, he found out where she lived. Well, somehow I got her telephone number, and I called her and told her about me.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't believe it because she's in the same shape of me.
Yeah.
So she had to go. She was a nurse and she had to go on duty, and I wasn't talking to her mean. I just knew I wanted to know. I wanted to meet her too, and wanted us to compare notes. And I wasn't gonna go with him no more. So Muscles, she wanted me to come to see her because she had to go work. I think she was working nights and was gonna go on duty so and so. It was a Wednesday, and I was gonna go to see her. And Muscles found out for me where she lived, and so I went to see her. Sweet person, nice as she could be. Didn't have a clue that there was nobody like me, and to think we had the same kind of cars and everything. And her brother, I remember her telling me that her brother was in. I know how her brother come up. Buford it was after all this, he had a M16 rifle. Well, I asked Jackie something about those guns because I had heard that him and Tommy Brown was using those guns and that they were shooting into like Towhead White some way. The way this old underworld mess works is he had something over all the pinball machines or something, and that he would just take over a place and move his in and move the others out. Well, Tommy Brown had a wife that was a German, and she'd say, "Oh, that old Tommy Brown did so and so," and she started telling me that Tommy Brown in Buford was doing this stuff at night, and that they were borrowing one of Rod Providence's, and Rod Providence was Buford's best friend, and he had a car place, a body place, and all that at Alton, and that they were borrowing one of Rod's cars, and that they were going down in Mississippi and doing that kind of stuff, and then him moaning to me all the time like he was scared that Towhead was going to kill him. Well, he wouldn't be scared if he was doing such stuff as that.
So
Right.
going down to Mississippi with guns and taking over places?
No,
Or?
just like where Towhead was in
Okay.
control, shooting into the places. Now that's what Tia said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but Tia was funny because she had been good friends with Pauline.
Okay.
And Billy and